bring in Sheriff Mark Dannels of Cochise County, Arizona. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thanks for having me, Nick.
We just heard the Secretary speak on the safety measures and why they're going after certain migrants there. Should we be concerned that nonviolent criminals end up getting sent to Guantánamo Bay as well?
I don't think so. Let me just say this for clarification. Borders Our Home and met with myself and a lot of the sheriffs throughout the country here about 45 days ago now. We went over this. This has been a set plan, defined plan to target the worst of the worst, as they're calling it, the most criminal-minded people that are most vulnerable to our community. So he hasn't deviated from that. We're not seeing that. I just was in with DC last week. Borders Our Home was there. Federal leaders were there talking about TDA, all the things we're doing. Bottom line is they're doing what they're said to do, and that is under the rule of law.
And Sheriff Dannels, it seems as though the American people agree with you there. We just started this segment with a poll by CBS talking about the positive response that Mr. Trump is getting for being tough and his moves that he's made in the last 3 weeks. Now, Secretary Noem is pushing back on concerns raised about sending migrants to Guantanamo Bay, saying the administration will follow due process. But what are the legal consequences that could be happening here?
Well, the legal consequences very simply, and we've said this is something, a commitment was made to the America's sheriffs, is just like we do in our communities, the state law enforcement, federal law enforcement, we all work together. But in my 41 years, Nick, we all follow the rule of law. And as long as we're following the rule of law, which has been committed by Borders Our Home, I've worked with the guy a long time. He's a career federal agent, federal officer. He knows what he's doing. Nobody's going to deviate from that. As long as there's justification supported by the laws of the land, we're all going to be good.
Hey, Sheriff, what are you seeing in your community? I have to believe that most people agree and support the idea of violent criminals being taken off the street.
Well, we do. And it mystifies me when I see politics getting involved here. Public safety is based on the laws. When you see politics, like I've seen all over this country, where they're saying we're not going to cooperate with the federal government. 41 years, Nick, I've had FBI, DA, ATF, HSI, Border Patrol. When they want help, we've always been there for us. So let's keep the politics out. Let's do what we need to do. In my county, we deal with the gotaways, not the give-ups. These are people that are coming, trying to stay away from law enforcement. These are some of the worst coming across my region of the state. We do everything we can to work with our federal partners and to address that, stop that, and detain those people.
And Sheriff Dannels, you know that next month, 4 sanctuary city mayors, New York's City's Mayor Eric Adams, Chicago's Brandon Johnson, and Denver's Mike Johnston, and Boston's Michelle Wu are all set to testify in front of the House Oversight Committee over their city's policies as sanctuary cities. Should sanctuary states and cities be held accountable if they don't comply?
Well, 100%. I don't think there's any better example than Lakeland Riley. Sheriff had him in custody, had a detain order by the federal government. He ignored that. He was released onto the streets of their state, and then horrifically, this animal killed Lakeland Riley, innocent, prospering young student. And every mayor, every city that protects these criminals, won't work with the federal government. Think of that example in the family and what they've gone through. My heart goes out to them and many other victims in this country. So we have to work together, and I think they need to be sanctioned. Kudos to Mayor Adams out of New York. At least he's stepping up saying, I got to work with this administration. And the New York leadership I saw actually said, hey, we're going to work with the federal government. We have to work together for the good of this country.
And as you
Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.